Gulfport High Admiral football season. And hey, before we get going, we just wanted to thank all the supporters, Admiral supporters out there that are supporting the Coach's Corner edition every week. We also want to thank all the fans that came out to the game 2 Fridays ago, to the Picayune game. Milner was very crowded, great atmosphere. And we have to thank Woody's Roadside, our signature sponsor. They put on a phenomenal atmosphere on for us in the show. More people come each week. It's just a really cool environment. Doug and his staff roll out the red carpet, and we just really are appreciative of everything they do. And if you're driving by, if you're at home watching the show right now, we're up here for a whole hour. Come on. We've got a great menu. We've got TVs all over the restaurant with every sporting venue you can imagine. Come on out, great environment, and you can support the Admirals. Let's get into it. Coach Pennick, welcome back.
Ready to go, man. Yep.
Good to see you.
Been a while. It's different having a week 2 by week, but we get back after it right now.
So, game week before last, played one of the state powerhouses.
Yep.
Came away with a discouraging defeat. Had a chance to win the game right there, last play. That's all you can ask for.
Yep.
Top 10 team. How would you describe, if you have to just kind of bring us, the Admiral Nation, into the locker room right now to kind of gauge the players, I don't know, gauge their mindset, if you will?
Yeah, frustrated. You know, I mean, it was a tough game. Obviously, you know, you had it right there in the grass. We didn't play as well as we would have liked coming into it, and had to have some people step up. We were down some few guys on defense, but I know we'll talk about it some more here in the next segment. But you know, overall frustrated. Right there, you had a grasp to beat a good team, a team that's going to be there at the end in November, and just kind of let it slip away there.
Yeah. And like you said, the last time we were here, we were on the show, the Coach's Corner, we were kind of preparing for Picayune, the powerhouse.
That's right.
Now that the game's behind us, and before we come back the next segment, really get into the specifics of the game, the offense, the defense, special teams, if I had to put you on the spot right now, Coach, what would be one word from describing how that game unfolded against Picayune?
I think just what I said earlier, just frustrated. You know, frustrated right there. Just, you know, never could get the ball all the time, and you know, they held it a lot on defense, and so overall, I think from a coaching staff to the players and all that, when you had a week to think about it too, as well, it's just overall frustrated with the way the game played out.
Yeah. And look, Admiral Nation, always remember, we played one of the top programs in the state of Mississippi. Coach Pennick can attest. They were pretty impressive on the hoof.
Yeah, absolutely. They look great, man. You know, and they're going to all the time. They're always built on weight room. They're built on sled driving. They're built on toughness and physicality. But you know, that's kind of where we are. You know, when we first got into this, we're feeling good, I guess, about playing that close, having a game, you know, come to the very end of it right there, the last play where it can go either way. Well, at that point, what you're talking about is, like we said, frustrated that we're ready to win those games. We put enough effort, put enough time in, and we felt like we left some things out there that we could have done to easily change the score of the game and the outcome.
Yeah. And we're going to take a deeper dive when we come back on the next segment. But before we go, just a reminder, coming up later on the show, we will have a special highlight feature of one Cooper Crosby. He'll join us later on the show, so please stay tuned in. We're going to take a break and listen to some sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Tonight's Coach's Corner is being brought to you in part by Harborview Oral and Facial Surgery Center, located at 1301 25th Avenue, Suite 3, right here in Gulfport. Whether you need dental implants, bone grafting, wisdom teeth removal, cosmetic work, or several other procedures, Dr. Jason Rossetti and his staff have you covered. Their cutting-edge technology and personalized recovery plans help you heal right the first time so you can get back to smiling with confidence. Contact them at 228-867-0121. Their office hours are Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Fridays from 8 to 12:30 p.m. Thank you, Dr. Jason Rossetti and your staff, for supporting Gulfport High Admiral football.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner. Heard Coach Pinnock just speak briefly about the game against Picayune a few weeks ago. We got a big one coming up this week in Laurel. Had a bye week where we got to prepare pretty good for. But we're going to jump back and kind of review the Picayune game, starting with the offense. We'll get into the defense and then a little bit of the special teams. But Coach Pinnock, walk us through the game in terms of really the biggest takeaway you saw from the offense or the defense or the entire team, for that matter.
You know, I thought we really questioned to want to play physical football, right? And so I thought we did, at least on the offensive side. You know, we wanted to have ball control offense to be able to take away some of the distance of what they try to do as far as Picayune does. They want to try to drain the clock. They want to go on those long 14, 15, 16 play drives. And, you know, once they get around to the midfield, it becomes a four-play down the distance, right? So they're going to go forward on fourth down and that stuff. So you got to really do a great job on defense with first down. And then when you get the ball back on offense, you know, you got to hold it. You know, and then what we really tried to avoid, which we didn't do a great job of, which in hindsight we did a great job the year before. We didn't do as good as this year, but you kind of almost, when they go on those 15-play drives, you hate to try to do this, but you might as well just let them score. You know, that way because it's hard for a high school offense to be off the field for 6-7 minutes of game time and stay in a rhythm. And I think you saw some of that. What I was proud of, I thought the opening play of the game, we almost took it. We're going to take it to the house, right? You know, we didn't end up converting right there on that third down. When we got into the red zone, we missed a field goal to open up. I think he had some jitters there, but you know, we ended up playing the goal. We hit first. We ended up closing the half really well on offense. Super excited about the way we played and physical. You know, we ended up having a ton of rushing yards in the game. We were able to spread the ball around at the quarterback position at the wideout spot, and so I was really happy once we got to halftime from that standpoint. And then kind of that first drive that opened up the second half, and they took 7 minutes. We didn't get the ball first until 5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Yeah. You know, and so at that point in time, you're what do? You know, we got a first down, end up having a holding call, brought it back, and so you're sitting there looking at it on a 4th and 3 from our own 25. You're like, if I put this thing back to them, I may not get it back. Yeah. You know, to the fourth quarter. So there's a lot of ebbs and flows in the games, and ultimately we just didn't make the key plays in the game to bring it over the top. But I was proud of the way we kept fighting in the game to make it get to where we were.
We're going to dive a little bit deeper on the offense, Coach, if you don't mind. So offensively, we put up points all night long. We moved the ball on a really, really good defense.
Absolutely.
What stood out about our execution on that side of the ball to you? Any surprises there?
Well, I'll tell you this. You know, we had a lot of question marks in going into the season from our offensive line standpoint, and what I was proud of is the way that we could turn around and hand the ball to Cooper Crosby and go get positive yards. You know, and I thought we did a great job controlling the line of scrimmage on that side of the ball, and that's a good D lineman. They had 2 SEC guys playing in that interior right there, and so was really excited about the way we were able to do that and you know, control the line of scrimmage. The only 2 opportunities we had that we didn't score and put the ball away was, you know, two drives where we had holding calls in them, and we just weren't able to overcome them. Now that's the next phase in our offense is, you know, if you have to play perfect all the time to keep it going, well, that's going to be tough to do, right? We got to be able to overcome that, and that's where our wide receivers, our quarterback play, offensive line, and the pass pro standpoint got to step up and really take control of the game to be able to make up some of that stuff. But, you know, overall, I thought offensively for the first time with what I was expecting going in, I was really happy the way that they played, and they almost had an amazing 2-minute drive right there at the end to complete the win. Yeah.
Our offense was impressive. We moved the ball pretty much at will against a very powerful defense. I believe we have to have an Alabama commit on that D-line, right?
100%, yeah. You know, when you're looking at stats, you know, the one glaring stat was the amount of plays, right? Mm-hmm. They had 72 total plays in the game. We had 39.
Wow.
Yeah, that, and you know,
wow.
Yeah, it's tough to win a ball game doing that. And so when you have that going on, is, you know, 39 plays, 350 yards total offense. So you love that yards per play. But man,
Right.
that discrepancy really was tough. So I think I was probably the only one in the stadium while Cooper Crosby's running down on the 99-yard kickoff return with my head down.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
I know our defense is about to go right back on the field.
Right. Yeah. The way the game unfolded was kind of odd to me as well. Obviously, you don't want Picayune to have more offensive plays than you because they're suffocating the clock. They're running the ball 8 times to our, one pass.
Yeah.
So, we were definitely at a disadvantage there. But I'll tell you, our offense looked really, really good. A lot of bright things that come up. And, again, we played a powerhouse. That team was a good team, very well coached, good size, good speed. So that's our offense. Defensively in the game, what'd you see?
Well, we were going into the game. We were going into the game kind of undermanned, right? We were down a couple of defensive linemen. We had a safety, Cannon Parker, that we was out. So you have to start moving some pieces around. And when you have to move pieces like that around, you're trying to kind of plug a hole. Well, when you plug a hole, you kind of have a little leak. And you obviously don't love that going into a first game. Just is what it is, right? But we were really disappointed in the way we played. From every player to every coach to myself, all that stuff is just the discipline and the intensity that I expected us to play with in the first game just was not there. And when I say that, what I mean is, we do a good job when those guys release up to the second level. It is really coached up to a high level of squeeze and get flat on the defensive line. All right, because what they'll do is they'll run in there, get a little football X and O with you. They'll run in there, boom, trap you, kick you upfield, and they'll run the fullback right up the middle. Mm-hmm. Well, as the game wore on, we kept running upfield. Right, you can't run it upfield. Boom, hit it.
Yeah.
When you have guys down, you can't turn around and be like, hey, all right, now you go in. Don't have another guy. All right, so you just have to coach it up the best you can. Hey, stay focused, stop running upfield, that kind of thing. And those things just hurt you, and that's where it hurts when you get them onto the 2nd and 9 or the 3rd and 9, and they hit one of those and they get, 4th and 1. Well, they're going for it, right? And so it's just making the key points in the game. We lost leverage a couple of times to give up some key first downs and just some things like that. And so, like even on the tailback out of the backfield, right, on the 4th down, which is a great call by them, but we're in man coverage. So we should have we have a linebacker right there playing that, and he ends up going in with the tight end instead, and so it goes out. But, it's one of those things. It's good. That's what these non-conference games are for.
Exactly.
Is to learn from them for when it matters the most in region play. And so you hate to have to take a loss to learn from it to get the point. But, if you have to do that, and then we had a bye week to follow it to really correct those things, then at least you can take some silver lining from it.
Yeah. Coach, there was a little frustration in just the defense, the execution went, if you will. But with a traditional offense like Picayune, right, they're old school. They're running the veer. They're running the option a lot. They're 3 yards in a cloud of dust. How different is it for us, for a team to prepare for a team like that when you're seeing spread pretty much every week?
Right, it is. I laughed with some of our players not too long ago about just taking it under center. Like back when you and I played, everybody was scared to do the shotgun because you're going to get some kind of a fumble or whatever. Well, now we're scared to death that if you take a quarterback center exchange, that there's more likely to be a fumble than a shotgun snap now. So it's different. It's what the hardest part of it is in practice is to simulate the speed of which they run. I mean, and so a lot of it is toughness and physicality with the way they run. And so you really have to do a great job coming up and setting the edge, and you have to do a really good job of spilling the power to make sure they stop their feet and get out and compress the D gap. And so if you don't do those things, they're going to keep doing it. And it's not always going to be in the first and second quarter. It's going to be how you do it in the third and fourth quarter that's going to matter too. And so we just didn't do a good job of it, and we'll have to take that on our notes because we'll play them again next year. And so we have to continue to do a better job of either coaching it and getting people in the right spots to be able to execute a game plan a little better than we did.
Let's go back to the offense again. Okay. That final drive, that was impressive. That was intense. Everybody was on their edge of their seats. Can you kind of take us through the sequence of that drive a little bit? Let Admiral Nation have the inside information.
So we do 2-minute drill every single Wednesday. Mm-hmm. That's how we end practice, and we really talk to our players about know and understand the situation. We have thoughts of processes of how, when you're outside the numbers, get your butt to the sideline, right? You know, and we talk from the quarterback standpoint, our philosophy. Let's get a completion to start, right? And when defenses are most likely to give up those plays, when there's a recipe, right, for a successful 2-minute drive, and it's steady completions, constantly moving the chains. I don't care if it's 2 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, whatever, but constantly moving backwards, and then having at some point a chunk play in the middle of it. And so we try to get those, and so we did a great job. Parker, I thought, did a phenomenal job of checking down, taking what the defense gave him. We moved down, and then we was able to get that chunk play, a deep out to Mylan Stubbs there, and got us into a really threatening position, and did it in a great situation right there. And you know, we got the ball on the 10-yard line right there on a second or third and goal with 16 seconds left, no timeouts, and so you had that kind of thought process of, you know, we're down 3 points, we're in a threatening position, can save it for the field goal for the tie. But I'm gonna be honest with you, the fact that we have been on the field so much on defense, the high school overtime rules, you start at the 10-yard line, you have 4 downs. I didn't feel super confident in that setting with them running power at us constantly, right?
Sure.
And so we didn't have a timeout. We couldn't run the football. I didn't want to run our guys on. And so with that thought process, we're like, all right, look, we got a shot here. Let's see if we can't steal one. If we do, if we get it, touchdown, that's great, and we win the game. If we don't, we'll kick a field goal and be out of there. In all honesty, before the snap, we had a little man beater called right before the snap. We're thinking this is about to be a walk-in touchdown. And Cooper will tell you the exact same thing. He thought that we've run that play a million times, and guy goes down, corner just comes off and makes a great play on his own to pick the ball off. And so it's one of those things that just you're this close. You're this close. And we've been talking about that for a while now, and so hopefully these lessons we keep learning, it'll eventually pay off at the right time.
Speaking of this close, despite the result of the game, what characteristics of the team, what about the grit, the physicality, what tells you that we're that close?
Well, you know, you look at the tape, and I tell you this, it's the expectation of the players and the way that we played. And we did not play in a manner that I expected us to defensively. You know, because I sat up here just a couple of weeks ago talking about how we were going to play in a more of a defensive mindset, which was different than what I said. So I didn't just kind of pull that out of thin air. You know, I think I really have high expectations for our defense and the expectation of our play. And I don't think we matched the intensity that was needed in the game to do that. I think we kind of thought we were just going to roll the ball out and, you know, stop people just because.
Sure.
And that's not the way high-level high school football works in Mississippi. And so sometimes, I mean, we deal with 16, 17, 18-year-olds, you know. I mean, we as coaches know how physical that game's going to be, but we can say it till we're blue in the face, but ultimately, you know, our guys got to believe it. And so I think they believe that. They get the point now. We've had an incredibly physical, tough week, a couple weeks of practice here, and to kind of bring some humility back to it. And so I was really excited about the way that they did it. Very mature group, and how they handled the situation. And so I expect us to kind of moving forward, not to say that we're going to be perfect, but they are going to play with an edge that we expect them to play with.
Yeah. That's a tremendous summary there. You kind of hear how close we are offensive, defensively, but when you hear that our mindset is there and the physicality is there, that means a lot. We're going to run up against a break real quick. We're going to listen to the sponsors, but when we come back, Admiral Nation, we'll have a player spotlight. Cooper Crosby will be with us live on the set. Y'all come back and see us.
We would like to take this time to remind you that Gulfport football's Big Men in the Trenches are sponsored by Gulfside Periodontics of Gulfport. Speaking of trenches, don't let the trench mouth or any array of gum diseases affect your quality of life. When it comes to strong teams, you know the foundation matters. And when it comes to your smile, Gulfside Periodontics is the MVP. From advanced dental implants and laser gum therapy to expert periodontal care, their team is trusted by families across the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Located at 423 Security Square, Gulfside Periodontics of Gulfport uses cutting-edge tech to treat gum disease, restore your smile, and keep your oral health in championship form. No pain, no pressure, just precision care. Contact Dr. Thomas Carter and his staff at Gulfside Periodontics today. Visit them at gulfsideperio.com or give them a call at 228-205-4843. Thank you, Gulfside Periodontics of Gulfport, for supporting Gulfport High Admiral football.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner, where I am joined here by Star Player Spotlight of the Week, one Cooper Crosby, who is our big Division I commitment / signee to the University of Lafayette in Louisiana, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Cooper's a senior this year. He's a star player for us. If you go out to our games, you've seen him over the years. He's just a tremendous, tremendous talent, great kid, great character. It is a pleasure to have you here on the set, Cooper. Hey, man, huge night against Picayune.
Yes, sir.
Tell the Admiral Nation kind of how the game unfolded for you. 3 touchdowns, a 99-yard kickoff return. Walk us through that for us from your eyes.
Offensively, we kind of started off a little slow, but we started to pick up as the game went on, and we just got some momentum going, and I guess I got my wheels going, so we started rolling at that point.
Yeah. So, Cooper, you know, what is your – everybody knows you're such a physical guy. You're always in shape. You're always working. One of the hardest workers I've seen at the high school level. Can you let us inside kind of your mental aspect of your game? Kind of give us an insight of your mental preparation weekly, whether, you know, if it's for a practice, for a game, on the off season. Kind of take us wherever you want us to go. We just want to know more about you.
Okay. Well, a big thing for me is I like to get my body right. So during the season, you know, I go to Revive and Thrive. It helps me out a lot. I get 2 ice baths a week, kind of just always stretch after practice and just always stay loose. And eat right, of course, and all I drink is water. So that's really, that kind of helps me out whenever game time gets here.
Sure, that's good stuff. So, you know, Cooper has been a starter on the varsity team in football, obviously, since you were a 9th grader.
Yes, sir.
He played with my oldest son, and he now plays with my middle boy. And, you know, one thing, not only from just my kids, but everybody else, I've never heard a negative thing said about you, not as a friend or as a teammate. And that's a tremendous, tremendous thing to characteristic to have, to be thought of.
Yep.
What can you tell the Admiral Nation in terms, we talked kind of about your mental preparation and physical preparation. Where did you get that edge, that likability factor? Do you attribute it to anybody in your past, an elementary coach?
My dad, really. My dad has always told me to be humble, and it's also another thing with my faith, really, reading the Bible, and staying humble is really a big part of who I am, and I don't really ever like to take the spotlight, really, because it's a team sport, and without my team, I wouldn't be able to do anything. So.
Yeah. So you're a running back.
Yes, sir.
You also play a little bit of wide receiver occasionally if you need to catch the ball. We know you play on special teams. What do you prefer? Do you prefer returning kicks? Do you prefer running the ball? Do you prefer catching the ball?
To be honest with you, any way that the ball can be given to me, I don't really have a
I hear you. So you're also returning punts occasionally too.
Yes, sir.
What do you prefer, returning kickoffs or punts?
I will definitely say kickoffs because punts are scary.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ball game with punts.
Awesome. So besides yourself on offense, who would you say the team leaders are, team captains, guys that you look at as just, hey man, these guys are out there leading the way, whether it's in the locker room, on the field, in the middle of a huddle, on the sideline. Give us some names.
Definitely Parker Nettles, our quarterback. He's a great leader. He's very vocal, and he always helps us to get locked in. On defense, we got guys like Andre Peters, DeAndre Williams, just people like that just, whenever we're all down, they're always there to say something, help us pick us back up.
Yeah, that's good. We keep hearing these same names over and over. Andre Peters, Parker Nettles, Cooper Crosby. It's very good leadership at the senior level. So Coach Pinnock and I have been talking, I think you've heard us the past couple of minutes, kind of rehashing the Picayune game and how strong they are, always have been strong.
Yes, sir.
Take us inside, man. Were they as physical as ever as they usually are?
You know, their defensive line was probably the biggest struggle. Secondary wasn't really anything special, but the defensive line was rough.
Yeah, they're always tough, always have been.
Yeah.
And it's such a great test, to have early in the year, right?
For sure.
It's a top 10 team. It's a completely different Picayune team that we played last year.
Yeah.
I think you can attest to that.
Yes, sir.
So moving forward, we have Laurel coming up, and then we'll get into region play. What's the attitude going up to Laurel this weekend? How's practice been this week?
Well, this bye week, bye week. It was rough. It was like we were at boot camp. So we're just tomorrow. You're going to see the real Admirals tomorrow.
Yeah. So we kind of got after it during the bye week, right? Which we had 2 weeks of practice on the off week. Since the Picayune game, these guys have had 2 weeks to practice. That's good to hear that we're getting after it in the bye week. So Cooper, really kind of wrapping up here. What are some things moving forward in your career, right? We know you're going on to play D1 football. What are some things you're looking to improve yourself on the field?
Really everything. Being a leader, main thing. Being more vocal because I don't really say much, honestly. So I need to work on that, being more vocal with the guys, and I can always get better. So just with my game and anything like that, I can always improve.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break and listen to the sponsors. Cooper, it has been a delight having you. We appreciate you coming on, and good luck this week, and good luck in your career. It's been fun to watch you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Stay tuned, Admiral Nation. We'll be back.
Are you ready to relax, recover, and feel rejuvenated? Well, we'd like to remind you to take a time out with Revive and Thrive, located at 1073 Acadian Drive, right here in Gulfport. Come enjoy their saunas, cold plunges, contrast therapy, and rejuvenating salt room, or even shut out the world in their sensory deprivation float suite. With state-of-the-art equipment and over a decade of combined experience in the field, these Gulfport High alums are ready to tailor their services to empower you to thrive. So, whether you're getting ready for your next big event or just wanting to feel rejuvenated in your daily life, contact Revive and Thrive to book an appointment or ask about membership options today. Thank you, Revive and Thrive, for supporting Gulfport High Admiral football.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner. We're going into week 3. We've had a bye week, tough game against Picayune. Now we move into Laurel, where we will go up to Laurel to see what we have on the road. We got Coach Pinnock back on the set. And, Coach, let's just kind of go back to the past week, the bye week, if you will, and kind of take us through any corrections we focused on or any adjustments after the Picayune game, seeing some live film of our offense and defense.
Yeah, man, you don't really ideally draw it up to have a bye week in week 2, just kind of the way the schedule is falling with now we have seven teams in our region, which is we're the only region with 7 teams in 7A like that. So your bye weeks kind of fall differently based off the way the schedule goes. But I think it was a good time. We made the best of it. Obviously with the tough game like that, and you have a little bit of a mindset reshift, making sure you're getting some things. I think we can be a little more physical early to try to continue, because we're still developing as a team, right? And kind of finding who are our playmakers, who are the guys that we can count on, what getting people in the right seat, right? We got them on the bus, we're just trying to get them in the right seat, and so. It was a good job well spent, and I think we're able to hone in on some more of the details. I felt like we were confirmed in some of the things that we're doing offensively, which is a little bit of a shift into what we have done in the past. I really like the direction of where we're trying to go and trying to hone in on some of those things. And then obviously defensively, I love our players. I really do. I love our players and what we have from a skill set standpoint over there, and maybe just trying to free them up a little bit to just be able to play as fast as possible and understand the pace that's expected. And so I thought we did that this week, and we're going to get a chance to play a little bit of a spread team this coming Friday, and so that'll be a good thing to kind of get to that point, and get back into a little bit of a personality in that area. But really excited about how our guys used and we got better during the bye week. A year ago, I don't know if I could say that. You know, and so I felt like we got better this week during the bye week.
Yeah. So Cooper was just on here, and I'm sure you heard. He said that it was. He said it was pretty intense during the bye week practices.
Yes.
So I love hearing that the players responded well. Cooper said the same thing. Can you take us a little deeper? What made it a little more intense?
The understanding of the will that is myself, our coaches, and our captains, and what we expect this team to be, and not really bending that expectation to any extent. To the way that your locker looks in the locker room, to the way that you're dressed during walkthrough, to the way that you're supposed to, expectation of running onto the field, and to get to practice or to get to your pre-practice destination, every little thing that that you feel like you have a good team here, and they are good kids, and they work hard, and they do things right in the weight room and all that stuff, and so you kind of bend a little bit because in this day and age, kids, if you're just always on it, heck, they just quit.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but this is the thing on this. If we don't do it, we're not going to contend for a state title. So that's the expectation. That's what we're playing for. We're not playing just to, run out the rest of our schedule and games and hope we can, try hard or whatever. We're trying to win a state championship, and we're trying to get closer and closer to that goal. And just by talking about it, it's not necessarily doing it. So we're going to try and make sure in every action that we have in that building, we're going to live that way.
Yeah. We're one game in the season.
Yeah.
We had a bye week and then this week's preparation. So 2 weeks of practice with a game under our belt. We've got game film on us. I know that you and the coaching staff have been really focused and dissecting that video and that film. If you had to say, I'm going to put you on the spot again, I'm infamous for that. If you had to pick out a position group that's made the biggest jump, in your opinion, the biggest improvement since that first game, who would it be?
That's a good question. I would say the offensive line. I was really proud of the way that they played, and I tell you this, the tight end room as well. That was one of those that we moved some former O-linemen to play tight end, a former defensive lineman to play some tight end. Cooper Gwynn called his first touchdown pass of his career at the end of the second quarter, or at the end of the first half, and so I was really excited about that. We had some guys step up, because we're getting back. We had a major injury, probably our best lineman. Jacoby Ray didn't play in the game against Picayune. He's been dealing with a stress fracture in his foot for the last couple of months. He's healthy. He'll go tomorrow, which we're excited about. And so we had some guys step in there, even with some new starters, to really play well. I mean, that was 4 new starters in the game that ended up running for 200 and some odd yards and whatnot. And so I was really excited about that aspect of it, and hopefully we keep building from that performance.
From a coaching staff standpoint, it's got to be very frustrating, right? We come back this year, we're loaded. We have a great team on offense and defense. A lot of high expectations from everybody in the community, and we know that we have a good team. Kind of take us into the mental aspect of, everybody says, well, that bye week's great, right? You got a bye week to prepare, but that bye week can also that can cause problems at times when you're coming off of a loss with high expectations. How do you circumvent that in the locker room and keep them focused on the games ahead?
Well, I mean, the good part about it is it's early in the season, right? And so, the big thing for us is there's a standard of play that we're chasing. And we have talent, right? We got talent. Gulfport's talented. Now, we're not as talented as what, the thing is, but we don't have enough talent to win on talent by itself. It's talent doing it the right way. It's doing things right. It's playing hard. It's lining up. It's doing alignment assignment, making sure you're doing with passion, effort, and toughness. And so really having them hone in and understand the necessity to do that and then do it consistently.
Yeah.
You know, and so like we have several guys here that play lights out when they're super fresh. I mean, they're as good as you've seen, right? But what's going to be like in the third and fourth quarter? You know, we have a couple of guys here that are heck on wheels, man. When you're trying to block them on the front seven, but you know, in the third quarter we start getting out of gaps, we start playing high, we don't do quite thing, we get washed down, and now people are starting to get 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6 yards in a pop, you know, running the football. So really making sure that we understand the importance of doing that consistently, and then also throughout the week preparing yourself to be able to do that consistently. You know, we had some cramps in the game on Friday or the first week that, you know, since we do this, we do so much preemptive work to make sure that we do not cramp. Now, this is high school football. It's not college like we're watching here on the TV. We can't be with them all the time. There's a little bit of onus on themselves to do the right things. And so we didn't do that a week ago, which is part of why the bye week went the way it did. But with the aspect of it, making sure they had the understanding. And I think that they got that part of it, and they got the gist of that. And so we move forward. I think we're going to be a better team because of it.
Okay, we're going to take another minute to listen to the sponsors. We'll be right back with the next segment of Coach's Corner. Stay tuned.
Tonight's Coach's Corner is also being brought to you in part by Savvy Sliders, located on Highway 49 in Gulfport. Come experience hand-breaded, hand-grabbed, and handcrafted greatness to fuel you up for the big game. Satisfy your savvy taste with their wide range of sliders and other great treats. And these aren't your average sliders. They're more than a bite. They're bold, juicy, and built to actually fill you up. So, if you want to be the star of the pre-game party, bring Savvy Sliders to the tailgate. Savvy Sliders. Eat savvy and be savvy.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner. Coach Pennick, we had Laurel this week. Second game of the year, coming off of a bye week like we've been saying. You know, Laurel's always a tough road show, man. You're playing, like you said before the show, it's between the bricks. It's a cool stadium. It's an old stadium, kind of Milner-esque.
Kind of, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about their squad.
Well, you know, it's a program that's used to winning. I mean, 2 years ago they played for it all in the state title in 5A, and you know, they always have great athletes, kids that can run. They have a receiver this year committed to the University of Memphis. A really good football team. You know, they played West Jones, who's always a contender in 6A, and then Hattiesburg, who played the state championship for the 6A title last year. 2 close games, came up short, but they got the kid that can throw it. Ryan Ernest is their head coach. He's the head coach of the Miss Al game this year that I'm fortunate enough to be on staff. Great guy, really great offensive mind, likes to push the ball deep and go vertical with it. Defensively, they do a great job of creating chaos. They're really a pressure-oriented defense. Really do a good job of getting after the passer and trying to create chaos. We have to really do a great job playing to our discipline and playing with our skill level, and making sure that we do a good job covering the bases of which we have some holes in it. Right?
Offensively, are they more of an air attack?
Yeah, they're going to be a spread ball. They're going to push the ball downfield. They'll run it some to kind of keep you off balance, but they're really trying to put some air in that thing and hit the deep shots. So it's really important. We've talked about it from our standpoint of pressure packages and controlling the line of scrimmage, and we feel like if we can get to that quarterback, then we have a good shot to be able to affect the passer, obviously, and to get them in some off-schedule down and distances. And when you do that, I really like our coverage units. I like our secondary against these guys and doing a great job of being able to play the underneath, right, and not letting them have the easy catch and runs, you know, that we had talked about a couple of weeks ago and that kind of thing. And so getting them in off schedule down and distances, that's a situation for us defensively so far this season that I hadn't just loved, but we've worked really hard on that in the bye week and the last several weeks to really improve that. So it's great to win first down, but now we have to use that advantage when it's in 2nd and 10, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 to have that sense of urgency, that desperation to get off the field.
Offensively,
Yep.
do they have any guys that can make some explosive plays? Anybody the Admiral Nation should kind of key in on?
Yeah, absolutely. Number 7 for them, the name escapes me right now, but he's probably a guy we're going to take. Has a shot that we take him in the Miss Al game. Wide receiver, he's committed to the University of Memphis, a big play guy, made some great plays a year ago, and as we're preparing in the summer for this type of game. And just has tremendous speed, a great route runner, great hands, can really play the ball above his head. And so he's a guy that we're going to have to make sure we know where he is in the formation every single snap. Have a running back that does a really good job, a young quarterback that played as a freshman a year ago and made some plays. And they're a team that dealt with a ton of injuries a year ago, and so they're kind of coming back a little more fresh this year and is putting up some fight against some of these bigger teams. And they're a team that's going to be right there in the thick of it in 5A South.
Oh, yeah. So we kind of talked about their offense there. What about their defense? Any plans of attack, anything you're looking to kind of expose?
And I told our guys this Monday is, talk about keys to victory and things. And anytime you go on the road and you're playing and you want to try to play solid, you want to play smooth, you want to execute right to a high level, but if you control the line of scrimmage, you're gonna do fine. It makes it a lot easier. And so that's one of the challenges that I've checked to our offense is offensive line. We talked about them, right, in the Picayune game. We felt really good about the way they played. Well, they need to really answer the bell this week and control the line of scrimmage. If we can get Cooper Crosby going, we can get our running game going, we can keep the quarterback's jersey clean to be able to push the ball downfield. I love what we have, but it's going to be really predicated on them playing well, and they should play well. There's a matchup there, that we really like as coach and staff, and so we're going to have to play to that level of expectation to be able to do a good job.
I know we've kind of touched on a lot of stuff on the game, offense and defense, but if you had to really say what's the key message to the team to come out of Laurel and drive down I-59 on Friday night with a victory, what would you focus on telling the team?
The one word that kept coming to me after the game against Picayune, through the bye week, and now leading into this game is I want our kids to play with a sense of desperation, okay? And that word meant a lot to me as far as using it to, I'll get it next week, or I'll get it the next play, or I'll get it, when region play starts, or I'll get it that's not the way that the game is supposed to be played. I want our guys to play with more of a sense of desperation of, this third down is the most important third down in the history of football, and we got to get off the field. And I want you to play like it, right? This third down or this first and goal, fourth and goal, whatever it is the most important play in the history of football. We got to score a touchdown here, that kind of thing, and run like that. And so doing that, I think, that's when I look at after our game on Friday, that's what I hope that I have noticed on the field. And obviously the tape will show it, but, the message all week long has been for us to play with that sense of desperation, because when we are playing at a high level like that, we are a really good football team. But when we're not, we become the team that is playing these other really good teams that loses by 3, that loses by a score, whatever, which is, kind of been that aspect of it. And so the main aspect for us is if we play with that desperation, I really, really like what we're going to see.
Hey, Admiral Nation, we're up against another break. We're going to take one and listen to our sponsors, and we will be back with Coach Pennick's closing statements. Come back and see us.
Hey, Coach's Corner viewers. We'd like to give you a quick shout out to Exceed Physical Therapy, now serving in locations across Mississippi. Whether you're rehabbing from game day injuries, bouncing back from surgery, or just looking to boost strength, mobility, or balance, Exceed has got your back. And every other joint too. From vertigo and spinal rehab to sports-specific training, pelvic health, manual therapy, dry needling, and even TRX suspension training. They deliver more than expected. Their expert therapists craft a personalized recovery plan that gets you back in the game faster, stronger, and smarter. With 2 locations right here in Gulfport, one in Biloxi and one in Long Beach, Exceed's team of movement specialists is ready to help the Mississippi Gulf Coast exceed their recovery goals. So don't just recover, exceed. Visit exceedtherapy.com and find your nearest clinic. That's exceedtherapy.com. Get back in the game, keep competing, and let Exceed help you bounce back better than ever. Thank you, Exceed Physical Therapy, for supporting the Gulfport High Admiral football team.
Hey, welcome back to the Coach's Corner. Friday night, tomorrow night in Laurel, the Gulfport Admirals will be back in action after the game against Picayune 2 weeks ago. We're looking forward to getting back on the field. We got Coach Pinnock here. We'll do a little final segment with his final statements. Got to pose one last question to you, Coach.
All right.
Game behind us, off week. We talked about it all. What's the final message you want to kind of portray out there to the Admiral Nation to tell them what to expect tomorrow night against Laurel?
Well, I want to hit rewind for just one quick second on that, because I tell you this, it was awesome 2 Friday nights ago. That was a packed house, great atmosphere. Admiral Nation really showed up, had a great impact on the game. Our players noticed it, our coaches noticed it. It was just, it's what Milner's supposed to look like, right? And so nobody felt worse about the way the game played out than I did, and you know, our players wore that, our coaching staff, myself, obviously, we wore that, but it only makes us, it's what drives us to continue to come back even harder. And you know, this team, these players, it matters to them. It does. It absolutely matters to them. They work so hard. They do all the things necessary. And, you know, when you're playing in these games all the time, you're constantly banging on the door against these teams, you're going to come out, and you're going to come out on top at some point. And what we're hoping to do is come out at the right moment, you know, getting ourselves in a situation, because we got another one in a week from now at Petal that we're going to need the Admiral Nation for. And so this week for us against Laurel is an opportunity for us to right some wrongs and get ourselves back focused and locked in and ready for the run of the season, because we're going to come up with a stretch of games here that we're going to need all hands on deck to be able to get through, and it's going to be a telltale sign for our season.
You heard him, Admiral Nation, the head ball coach right there. Let's get out. Let's support this team. Coaching staff, the kids are so involved in the community. Hour and a half up the road. Let's go support them tomorrow night, 7 o'clock in Laurel. Hey, before we leave, let's say give the Woody's Restaurant here another shout-out. Doug and his team do a phenomenal job, create a phenomenal atmosphere. Thank you again, Woody's Roadside right here in Gulfport, for supporting Admiral football. And to Wesley and his team here, that his students, if you could see what goes on behind the scenes, you'd really appreciate it. Thank you, Wesley, for all you do. Again, tomorrow night, Laurel, 7 o'clock. Come up there. It's only an hour and a half away. If you can't make it, tune in to the Admiral Nation. Thank you, and see you next week.
At this time, we'd like to thank all of the support provided for the Coach's Corner each week. Again, thank you to our signature sponsor, Woody's Roadside, for hosting us each week. And our other sponsors, Harborview Oral and Facial Surgery Center, Gulfside Periodontics of Gulfport, Revive and Thrive, Savvy Sliders, and Exceed Physical Therapy. Thank you guys for supporting Gulfport High Admiral football.